Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe, with my co host, Can2, which we haven't recorded in a good freaking while, honestly.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Like, it's been maybe a week. The last one we did was that recap of the Padres series. Everything was kind of getting footsie around there. But we're supposed to do the Angels one. Things got carried away. We both had, some stuff to do on our own. And then next thing you know, American League West champions.
Yeah,
So 217, as we're gonna title this the AOS champions because the Astros did clinch and Tuesday night's ball game against the Seattle Mariners, their divisional rival at home. And I mean that series, the first two games itself was just out of control. Like offense, defense, pitching, it just wasn't really clicking for it. It was either one was clicking, the other one wasn't, and that's how it was with this series. But yeah, man, it's good to see you getting back on the mic. As we are having what 3 games left in the 24 season,
it's crazy.
just like that, in a snap of a finger, like the season's already ending.
But although it is the end of the regular season, out comes the postseason. We'll have great content for you all. I know, as you can tell by my voice, I wasn't able to be present when the Astros clinch. And obviously during the Angel series, but Lawrence and I will both be there for the postseason coverage and stuff like that. We'll give you the latest on that. But yeah, it's a very exciting time to be an Astros fan for the past few years. Eight AO division last 9 years is pretty remarkable stuff.
So it's seven
in the past 8 years.
out of the last 8 years.
Yeah.
Fourth consecutive year, the Astros have clinched the AOS. My gosh, though, it's been like last year. They clinched at the last day at game 162. And then this one's like really not too far. It's like what, 157, 158 that they clinched?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 158, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just that just shows too that the teams are competitive in this American League West. The Rangers this year obviously just I don't know what happened to them, reigning champs, but they just didn't have it this year. Mariners, I think Mariners are just a good team. It's just man, if their front office could get some offense for that club, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't see them. Why not as them as a World Series favorite? They got great pitching. Bullpen's a little shaky, but with that starting pitching, that rotation could go either 6 or 7 innings, and it kind of really showed in this series against the Astros. Man, Bryce Miller, the Astros just really couldn't find nothing going against him. He was just very dominant. That's one of them things you just got to tip your cap. Jose Altuve did say in that post game. After that game that they lost on Monday, he's like, man, you just tip your cap to him because he had the Astros hitters off balance, split finger, the curve, the 4-seam, 2-seam. I mean, he had everything going for him. Also, Texas Aggie as well.
Yeah.
San Antonio, Texas native. But, I mean, he really had the Astros number throughout that whole game. But then Tuesday's game, too, Logan Gilbert has shown in the past couple of starts that he's been shaky, but he's still a dominant pitcher. All-star this year as well. And Alex Bregman got the Astros on the board quickly with that homer. And then next thing you know, Jorge Polanco, which, my God, he had a game, dude. He had a game against the Astros on Tuesday. If I can pull it up real quick. Is it Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday's a game. 4 for 4. 4 for 4 with that home run and 2 RBIs. So he was on fire. But you were just like looking at this offense that the Astros were producing in them 2 games. You're like, man, what's going on? They just couldn't get no one on. Like literally, hits weren't falling to place. Bryce, like I said, Miller had gotten them going out of the game. Tuesday's game, Logan Gilbert kind of the same thing, man. 9 out of the last 10 at bats. Alex Bregman was the only one that got in a hit and that run for the Astros. I mean, it was just crazy. It was just crazy because if we're looking at this wild card right now, which I haven't really, I have it on my phone at this moment, the Astros will be playing against the Kansas City Royals, 83 and 74. Detroit, I think, has the tiebreaker against them, which they're in the 5 spot.
Is that Detroit? I thought it was Detroit.
So it's Baltimore. Detroit got the second wild card, and then KC got the third one.
Yeah.
Minnesota's 2 games behind. Same goes with the Seattle Mariners, 2 games behind.
Got you. Maybe it's a series.
Yeah, I mean, what a series it was. I mean, for the Astros in general, though. Let's get with the objectives on the side real quick. We'll talk about through the season what they've gone through. Recap that Mariners series. Starting rotation: Jay Hay, Alex Bregman, Gunnar Asada. Pitching preview. We're not going to do too much on the pitching preview because the Astros already had clinch. I don't think they're going to pull out their big time starters against Cleveland, especially if they got to win this wild card series and then they'll play Cleveland in that second seed. Train station injury news. Really big updates on that, and then around the horn. But going into that Astros through the season, man, what a season it was. First year manager Joe Espada. I mean, Espada's the guy that knows this team very well just for the time that he's been with the AJ Hinch era and then the Dusty Baker era. He just never been a manager before. And this time he got his first gig with the Astros. Didn't start really well for him this season. Swept by the Yanks in the home opener. Their record was already 10-20 in May 1st. May 8th, it was like 12-24. 33-40 on June 18. There were 10 games back at that time from the American League West. And then, I mean, I know for me, I was kind of scratching my head. I'm like, man, I don't know if they'll win the division. Possibly they could get into the wild card, but the division was going to be a tough shot for them to come and get that deficit, man. 10 games back. Mariners were 44-31 at that time, and then the Astros were 33-40. But then the next thing you know, here come the Astros. Winning streaks coming along. Dana Brown even said on the radio, just wait, continue to be patient.
Yeah.
162 games this season, just don't panic. And sure enough, I mean, Astros next thing you know came out of nowhere. Astros tied for first after 24 games after June 18th. And then next thing you know, it's kind of a full circle moment too, because you're seeing the Mariners going up throughout that whole time. You're like, damn, are we ever going to catch up? 10 games back. It looks like a long shot, but it can happen. And then to clinch the AL West at home against your divisional rival, Seattle Mariners, who were in the division in first place throughout that whole season, it's mind blowing, dude. It's honestly mind blowing.
Yeah, that game was important. Clinching it in the Mariners season was important just to give those guys a break, a day off. But you're right. It's crazy how far the Astros have come, and shout out to Joe Espada and Dana Brown for always believing in his team. Not one time did they lose faith, and they were just making the many moves to get them where they're at. Caleb Ward grabbing him off waivers. Otani's got to be in the season. Jason Heyward, who came out huge, just making moves to get this team better. And I mean, the Astros, they never lost faith in themselves, and now they're AL West champions. It's pretty remarkable there. But I'm glad they clinched it for the Mariners just to give those veterans a day off. As you saw, it was the hangover lineup, as you like to say, for today's game. No Altuve, no Tucker. Bregman only played 4 innings. So it's a great day to be an Astros fan if you are one. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as Jeff Passan had put on his tweet before, the Astros are inevitable. And they really are, dude. Like I said, it's still mind blowing to me because you're 10 games back from the division. I mean, Seattle's offense isn't the best, but it looked at that time if their pitching was going to continue doing what they were doing, then they should be winning that West automatically.
Yeah.
But then there are some games here and there that they weren't going their way. Luis Castillo kind of fell off a little. Logan Gilbert, like I was mentioned, had fell off a little as well. Bryce Miller was kind of getting hit a little. George Kirby as well. And like you said, yeah, shout out to the front office. Joe Espada too, not giving up on this team. He always had that faith that the team was still going to be good and they were going to go out there and win the West. Dana Brown, like you said, them key acquisitions, Taylor Scott being the biggest one for the bullpen. Well, we could take away the Josh Hader signing because Josh Hader is a freaking dominant closer in the game.
Yeah.
But getting the little pieces like you were mentioning, Jason Heyward, DFA by the Dodgers. Same thing goes for Ben Gamble, DFA by the Mets. Obviously, he won't be playing in the postseason because of his fracture on his fibula, but there were important games that he came up for them, especially in that Baltimore series, really in that whole road trip. I forgot who they played after Baltimore, but I mean, he did it from that time. His tenure in the Astros was really great. Jason Heyward, last 11 games, hitting 310 with a 1.099 OPS, home runs as well. He only hit 6 home runs with the Dodgers in 60-something games. He has 4 home runs with the Astros in 22 games.
It's crazy.
That's very crazy. Like I said, left a sour taste in his mouth when the Dodgers informed him that he was going to be DFA'd. The only person he really talked to was Freddie Freeman, which was his former teammate with the Braves. Then whenever they played in Atlanta, but now being a big step of the way coming in this series, really specifically, my gosh, first game he only hit a home run. I mean, that was the Astros' only run from that game, which their offense just really did not look spectacular in this series. Like I said, hangover lineup. Excuse me. And then, but Tuesday's game makes one of the best plays this season and left, crashing into that outtown scoreboard in the Crawford boxes. And I don't know if you saw that panel. I don't know if it just went down. He put his hand to like, I guess give him some like stability and all that stuff. Goes through the whole thing. I'm like, oh shit. And it looks like it might be a big time injury because that looked like it hurt in that spot. Got off the floor, gave the thumbs up to Joe Espada after the trainer and him went out to go check on him. Next inning, I mean, Caratini lead off, Pena sack bunt. Sure enough, I don't know if the baseball gods were just on the Astros side or just on Jason Heyward himself. Hits that 2-run homer, gives the Astros a lead, and then literally just from there, I mean,
that's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote. Yeah, so Jason Heyward being able to do that at that moment, I mean, that was very huge for him at that time.
Yeah, that was a scary looking play because those Crawford boxes, they're made of it's metal, so it's not like there's no padding there. It's literally metal. So when you can see his like kind of wrist go back, I was like, ooh, that's kind of like maybe like a wrist injury. And they already have Chas McCormick out. They already have Ben Gamel out, losing Jason Heyward with Jordan Alvarez still uncertain about his uncertain about his injury too. It's like who else is left besides Mauricio Dubon or Kyle Tucker, right, to fill in those roles. So I mean Jason Heyward come out of that play unhurt. It's a pretty good deal for the Astros.
As soon as I saw that happen, I thought about Chas McCormick because Chas McCormick ran into the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought it was just maybe going to be something just like to monitor, just day-to-day kind of thing. But the next thing you know, it's a small fracture in his right hand. So as soon as that happened, that's what my instincts were thinking. Like, oh no, like you're saying, it could be a wrist injury, but it could be a little bit more serious just for the fact that, like you said, there's no padding over there. It's all metal. But to finish throughout the season, reminding everybody, the injuries that the Astros have had to overcome, losing Kyle Tucker for like a good 3 months, which he was an MVP candidate early on in the season. Christian Javier, starting pitcher. Jose Urquidy, starting pitcher. Justin Verlander. You already heard what he said. He came back from that injury pretty quick, and he just hasn't really bounced back that he would like to. But losing him, Luis Garcia, everybody thought that he would return from Tommy John and pitch this season. Didn't go as planned. Same thing for LMJ, Lance McCullers Jr. Did not go as planned. JP France pitched a little bit early on, got option to AAA. Next thing you know, shoulder injury. Season ending with shoulder surgery on his right shoulder. So what the Astros are dealing with and what they've been through, of course, I don't think, like, at the end of the day, Joe Espada is not going to get the manager of the year. That's either going to go to Stephen Vogt, which I honestly think now, looking at it, it's probably going to be him because the Royals are kind of diminishing at this moment with Matt Quintaro. I think he'll get some votes, but Joe Espada, my God, that guy got to be at least in the top three. Top three in the voting for that manager of the year for the American League.
Yeah, he'll get some votes indeed. I think it's a great candidate. Like you said, it's like it might be a little tough because there are some great managers out in the major leagues, but he'll get some votes.
Yeah, there's no doubt that he should not get any votes. Having so many injuries, the slow start, the offense wasn't really clicking, and then next thing you know, like, it just happened. And yesterday too, after they clinch, of course, Space City Home Network gets with the players and talks to everybody. And the two interviews that I saw was Mauricio Dubon and Hector Neris. Obviously, Hector Neris wanted to come back to Houston. He loves the Astro fans. He loves the city. He loves being a part of this group. I mean, just think about them 2 years that he was with Houston before signing with Chicago. I mean, he had fun. This guy was swinging a broom during the celebrations after they swept the Yankees in the ALCS. So he knew a lot of the guys here. He knew the camaraderie, the culture that the Astros had. But Mauricio Dubon, one thing that stick out to me that's true is everybody's dealing with something. Everybody is fighting through either some discomfort, soreness, injury that we might not even know. They're going through it and they're still busting their ass. Like Dubon had like tape on his kind of where his thumb is on his left hand, I want to say. Bregman, of course, with that elbow kind of gremlin kind of things he was talking about. Kyle Tucker, I'm pretty sure he's still maybe fully recovered, maybe not. Justin Verlander neck discomfort, maybe that's still kind of getting him there. I mean, everybody's fighting through something, and they're gonna continue to go on as much as they can before the wheels fall off. And sure enough, that's what they've been doing. I mean, the perfect slogan for this season is relentless, and they've
Yep.
shown why they're relentless this season.
Absolutely. The baseball season is a grind. 162 games. You're going out there every fifth day if you're a pitcher, almost every day if you're a position player, and it's just a grind. It's a long season. It's a taxing season, like you said. At this point, um, I know when I talked to Anthony de Castillo as well, he said it best. Like it's it's a team with the most grit. Like because we're going through stuff, they're going through stuff, and it's just whoever can have the most mental fortitude, mental power is the team that's going to rise up.
Yeah, and sure enough, the Astros kind of did. They blocked all the noise. I think even DeBon had mentioned that. Like they just blocked all the noise and said, let's just go after it. They really don't have nothing to lose. The golden era Astros baseball still there, all that type of stuff. And sure enough, look where they're at. Going back to the postseason, what 7 out of the 8 years, like we had mentioned, fourth consecutive time winning the division. Maybe another trip to the ALCS. We don't know. We do not know because there are 3 games left in the season, which them 3 games are going to be interesting just for the fact that they're
Yep.
playing the Guardians if they win the wild card series in Houston. But quickly, let's go through that recap against the Mariners series. And the biggest thing from this series, this takeaway that I will say the Astros did really well was the starting pitching. Starting pitching just continues to dominate, especially them 3 pitchers, which I will probably assume that they're going to be game 1, game 2, and game 3 for that wild card series. That's if a game 3 is needed. Start off with Hunter Brown. I mean, let me tell you about this guy. I have the scorecards on me because I was taking the score during that time. And what he was doing, I mean, the pitch count was high. He was already at 57 in the 3rd inning, 72 by the 4th inning. Finishes, just goes at it. 104 pitches, 64 strikes, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. Just dominated throughout that whole time. Of course, the bullpen, that's another topic we could talk about. They're not really strong at this moment. And then again, too, you're throwing guys like Caleb Ward, Brian King, Seth Martinez into the mix of that. But other than that, Hunter Brown continues to do what he's doing. Framber Valdez moving on to him, 5 2/3, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Night pitches were thrown, 56 of them were strikes. I do like the move what you call its name had did. Joe Espada going against the number 9 hitter, which for some reason the Astros just cannot get number 9 in anybody's lineup out for some damn reason. But Mariners go and get Luke Raley to bring in Brian Abreu. Brian Abreu only needed 1 pitch to get him out, and Framber was able to stay up with that stat line. The only thing I would say about him, though, he was getting hit pretty damn hard against the M's. And then finally, Yusei Kikuchi, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 0 being earned, a walk, and 8 strikeouts, 98 pitches, 66 strikes. He did receive the loss. So that undefeated streak of him being in an Astros uniform is officially over, and as well as the Astros winning every time he's on the bump, it is officially over.
Yeah, but great performance by the starting pitchers. I know the preview my kind of said too, but they've been pretty phenomenal. And I do agree with you that is your 1, 2, 3 starters for the postseason because they've been great.
Yeah, more than likely it's Framber Valdez, Hunter Brown, and Yusei as your game 3. That, and then when we get to game 4 and game 5, that'll be a little tricky, but that's another day because that's not even on the Astros' mind at the moment. But Jay with the blow, Jason Heyward. We already talked about what he's done in the Astros uniform, coming from the being DFA, Dana Brown acquiring him. I already had mentioned made that incredible catch and left. Next inning, hitting a 2-run homer. Funny that it was that Alex Bregman and Justin Verlander were talking amongst each other in the dugout and had mentioned like, "Damn, that was a badass play." And the next thing you know, Hayward hits a home run. Both of them looked at each other and just said one word: "Wow!" Like it was incredible. Like I said, baseball gods could have been on their side, but to end it, Alex Bregman standing ovation. Is this the last time do we see Alex Bregman in Nationals uniform? Joe Spada pulled a Breg from the game in the fourth inning. Bregman jogs off the mound, receives a standing ovation from Minute Maid Park, and tips his hat to the Astros fans. Sorry, and I mean it was an emotional moment for not just Alex Bregman, but for Astros fans as well. This kid was drafted by the Astros in 2016, made his debut in 2016 as well. No, he got drafted in 15, made his debut in 16. Sorry about that. And then, I mean, shit, what an incredible career he's been with the Astros, man. I mean, 272 career average with them, 191 home runs, 662 RBIs, 42 stolen bases, OPS of 847. He's won 8 All-Star Game MVP, being the first Astro to do that. Two-time World Series champion, Silver Slugger, runner-up in the MVP conversation in 2019. If this is the end for Alex Bregman, I mean, what a ride it has been for the Astros. And I think that'd be the last guy you can say from that kind of whenever they were losing them games in 2011 through the 2013, 2014 era. That's how they were able to get them draft picks. And that I think Alex Bregman was that last one, excluding Kyle Tucker from that group with Springer, Correa.
Yeah, in a few years, once Alex Bregman retires, the Astros are already making his orange jacket fitted for him because he's going to be, I would say, a shoe-in for the Astros Hall of Fame. I think he's been such a great player for this Astros franchise. Has some big moments, big hits, big home runs. The defensive wizard, as you can say. And I think he's going to be remembered by the Astros for a very long time.
Yeah, he's yet to win a Gold Glove. Like I had mentioned, we had mentioned like maybe some episodes ago about Chapman being that guy in the hot corner for the A's. So
This could be the year.
Yeah, it could be, but well, we'll see. I don't know. Like we had mentioned the last episode, it could be Alex Bregman's last year in the Astros uniform. Same time too, when you got I don't know if we did talk about this in the last episode either, with Jose Altuve being very vocal about Alex Bregman. I don't think we did, but your leader, a guy that's been in your franchise for a good long time, vocalizing about a player like Bregman, man, that kind of puts pressure on the organization, I would say.
Yeah, it's kind of like when they lost Carlos Correa, like that was the leader you saw, winning him the most, and that like I think the biggest memory that comes to many baseball fans is him trying to get right with Framber Valdez during the playoff game, like not getting in his face, but just that positive reinforcement, telling him like to go after the hitters. He knows what he has and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, there's like if he leaves, there's gonna like someone else is gonna have to step up, and you're looking at maybe like a guy like Yanier Diaz, Jeremy Pena, Jose Altuve is still around there too, so like that's the leader in the clubhouse too. Kyle Tucker could be another guy that can step up if Alex Bregman's no longer in the Nationals uniform.
Yeah, I mean, he did take in that leadership role this year, talking to guys like Hunter Brown, Ryan Presley. Basically, in the pitching aspect of it, that really helped Hunter Brown really turn his season around, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. But are we ready?
I think we are ready.
So who's the vet? So that for the carne asada, let's talk about the man of the hour. The man who has highlighted this episode, and it's going to be Jason Heyward. Only had 2 hits, but they were big hits. 2 home runs, 3 RBIs. The 15-year bet, 15 years in the league for Jason Heyward.
Long time.
I mean, yeah, he had a throwback performance for sure. He made it he made a really great defensive play in the top of the 5th inning, and then follows that up with a go-ahead home run in the bottom of the 5th to give him 2 home runs in back-to-back games.
Wow.
In 22 games since being acquired by the Astros, Heyward has 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, and an 805 OPS. So I'm sure he's making the postseason roster just as a backup, but
Mhm.
there's there might be a chance where Jason Heyward has to step up big in the postseason roster. How confident are you that he'll be able to come through?
I'm confident. I think you got a guy like you said, 15 years in the bigs. Has won a World Series with the Cubs in 16, so he's been to the postseason majority of the times, and I think he could step up big. I mean, I know you're probably touched this later on the train station with Jordan Alvarez because there's no really certainty if he's going to play or if he's not going to play for the rest of the playoffs. I mean, it's just kind of a wait and see kind of thing. It just his knee has to heal, but I do have confidence that he could come up big and help out this team, especially what he just did in these last two games against the Mariners. I mean, I feel good about like him taking a big step.
Yeah, I think so too. And then the other three people invited to kind of to be the starting pitching. Like we said earlier, I think you're looking at the Astros front three, which is Framber Valdez, Hunter Brown, and Yusei Kikcuchi. So let's start with Hunter Brown since he was Monday's starter. Hunter Brown on Monday pitched 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. He made his 30th start of the year, which leads all Astros starters. And like I was saying, Brown had a rough start early in the season, but turned it around in mid-May. From mid-May, from May 11th, so since May 11th, he's made 23 appearances, and in those 23 appearances, he has an 11-4 record and a 2.50 ERA. Albeit, Hunter Brown only has 11 wins this season, and all of them came from mid-May to now.
From Minute Maid Park.
I'm sorry, from May till now. That's
Oh,
what
I
I meant to
thought
say.
you said Minute Maid. I'm
No,
like, okay, this guy is definitely just starting at home. If that's the case,
no, from May till now. Sorry,
does he
but
finish in the top five of Cy Young for the American League? Top five at least.
that's tough because you have some great guys uh, pitching in the American League. Got Terry Schoolball, Garrett Cole, Framber Valdez. Who am I missing? I'm sure Ronald Blanco might get some votes.
Crochet.
Gary Crochet too. So I don't know. I mean,
I
there's
think
a
he does.
chance.
I
You think
honestly
you
think
think
he
so?
does.
I don't know. That's a good question. I guess we'll see how it wins out from there, how the voting goes. But Framber Valdez had the matchup that clinched it. Tuesday's matchup. 5 and 2/3 innings pitch, 8 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, four strikeouts. It wasn't the best starter from Framber Valdez. However, he got the job done. Kept the Astros close, limited the Mariners to 3 runs, and but although this wasn't a good start, he has been great. He's posted 2.85 ERA with 165 strikeouts and a 0.26 opponent batting average and a 1.08 WHIP in 27 starts for the Astros this season. 28 now, so and then he pitched really great. So that number went down too. And then also another man of the hour, Yusei Kikuchi. He's pitched into the 6 innings in all 10 starts for Houston. I know he was like the king of 5 and 2/3. So couldn't finish 6 inning, but he's pitched into the 6 innings. Again, he joined the rotation in August 2nd. The Astros pitchers have posted a 3.2 ERA, which ranks third in the majors. And within that stretch, the Astros lead the majors in innings pitched, while ranking second in strikeouts, third in ERA, and fourth in point average. And that's just, I would say, would you call that the Yusei Kikuchi effect just because he's been that great? Because I know uh, before they got Yusei Kikuchi, there was like 3 consistent starts for the Astros and then question marks after that. And he's really come in, stepped in, and really kind of taken the Astros fans by storm because there was a bunch of people saying, why Kikuchi? Why give up so much for a guy like that? And he really blew the Astros fans away pitching. Almost had 10, almost had a 10. And his last start with the Astros almost got wins. And then, but like Astros wins there. Unfortunately, his last start couldn't do it. But overall, he's been pretty good.
I think he's taken fans by storm, honestly. There's a
Yeah.
lot of Astro fans that love this guy, but yeah, it is the Kikuchi effect, honestly. He's honestly pitched really well in an Astros uniform. I do see him maybe getting an offer from the Astros in the
Yeah.
offseason whenever that time comes, because he's really done a great job ever since getting into the Astros organization. I don't know what happened in Toronto for him that he couldn't figure anything out when his pitching, the pitch quality, the pitches he's thrown, all that type of stuff that comes into play. And the Astros kind of came over here. He's like, hey, tweak a little bit of here, tweak a little bit of there. You're gonna be okay. And sure enough, shit, what 9-1 in the last in the games he's played for the Astros and since he's been on the bump.
Yeah, he was more than okay. He was pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, he was phenomenal. Phenomenal, the biggest word that we like to use on this show. So I'm very excited to see him how he's going to pitch in the postseason. That's the one X factor I would say for this pitching rotation for me is going to be seeing him pitch and how he's going to do, because this guy could potentially pitch on the road. Like I said, depending on what the Astros do in this wild card series, if they go 1-1 at home, they got to go travel to. All three games are at home. Okay,
Yes.
my mistake on that. If anything, shit, it looks like Kikuchi might be pitching
The
at
clincher.
Minute Maid Park
Yeah.
for the rest of this postseason.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because then
There's
after that,
there's 5 games in the ALDS.
yeah, and then they'll go where to they'll start in Cleveland.
Yeah. So first
Yeah.
2 games are going to be Valdez and Brown. Kikuchi will be home in whoever game 4 is.
Yeah, that's true.
So
But he's a good. I think with that front three, the Astros can go to any series and beat any team. Like you have that confidence in those guys just because they've shown you what they can do. Framber Valdez is a veteran. He like you know what you're getting. But the fact that Hunter Brown was able to turn it around and pitch like an ace, and then you got Yusei Kikcuchi, since putting on the Astros uniform, has turned into the next like Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson from there, because he's looked pretty great. It's pretty phenomenal. I think the Astros could go into any game confident, and then the fact that either Justin Verlander, who's a for sure Hall of Famer, could potentially grab game 4, or you have Ronel Blanco, who's taking the lead by storm too, and throwing a no hitter and has a under 3 ERA going into game 4. That's, I mean, like we always say,
as well.
Yeah, pitching wins championships, and the Astros have a good front 4.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting what it lines up to be after this. You know, when it gets to the postseason, how the American League Wild Card Series will go, because this is the first time the Astros have ever been in the wild card since you got to go back to 2015.
Yeah.
So uncharted waters, but at the same time too, they have what is it called? The experience being in the postseason for so long, for so many years. So no pitching preview. We won't be going too deep on that, and there will probably be like a 2 or 3 minute conversation, because I do want to ask this. Cleveland is 91-67. But the Astros starters, how they're lining up for this series, is going to be Blanco, Verlander, and then Sundays to be determined. Could throw Spencer Arrighetti, or it could be a bullpen game. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in that start for the Astros, but we'll keep you updated. My question to you is, would you know, if the Astros do get past this American League wild card, this is how the wild card standings look like right now in the American League. Yankees first seed, Guardians second, Astros third. Then the wild card lines up like we had talked about: Baltimore, Detroit, and KC. If you were an Astros fan, I think you want to face KC in this wild card. I do not think that you want to face AJ Hinch's Tigers at this moment, because they are red freaking hot. They're like dead hot right now, playing some great baseball in the month of September. But let's say they get past the wild card. Do you feel confident that the Astros could beat the Guardians over there in that second seed at Cleveland, Ohio? I mean, the Astros did sweep the Guards, I want to say, in the early part of the season at Minute Maid Park. They're going to be playing 3 games for the remaining of the 24 season. Well, give me your thoughts. What do you think? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I do agree with you. The Astros, I would say KC, although KC has had the Astros kind of number in the past.
Pitching, to remind you too, the pitching rotation is pretty damn good. Cole Reagans and Seth Lugo, Michael Walker. I mean, good rotation.
But it's postseason baseball. I mean, like no team in the postseason is gonna have bad pitching. Like you're gonna see great pitching throughout. Like from this series to the Guardians, still, you know, each team has good pitching. However, we talked about this last time, getting hot in the right time, and right now, like you said, the Detroit Tigers are hot, and like that team kind of reminds me. I'm not gonna say I don't want to trade or anything, but that team kind of reminds me like the Diamondbacks, the 2019 Washington Nationals, where they get
Rays.
hot late. Yeah, the Rays, like
Yeah.
they get hot late, and sometimes teams, like, well, even the Phillies too in
Sure.
2022, like they get hot late and they're just so hard to beat. So right now, I would say KC kind of kicked the winner down a little bit. That's who you rather face, or I'd say even the Twins, because the Twins are like 2 games back. Even if they make it in, Minnesota I think could have a good chance. However, I think they have a good chance at going past the wild card series. That Cleveland series, that was going to be a pretty good matchup because you're gonna have the Astros are gonna have to score early. They have
Mhm.
to try to get the starter, score as much runs as the starter. I mean, not because they're not great; they have great pitching too. But that bullpen is first in so many bullpen categories.
Yeah.
Like that bullpen has been lights out, and then finishing off with Emmanuel Clase. So, if the game is, and I'm not saying the Astros bullpen's not great; it is too. But you're not comfortable. I would say the Astros a 1-0 lead in the seventh inning, or you're down one in the sixth inning, you're down two, because you know how great they is. Now, the Astros are a team that can, all it takes is a bloop to get rolling. However, it might be a little bit difficult in this postseason. So I like the chances for the Astros, like getting passed by either Minnesota or Kansas City Royals, and even the Guardians. But like every postseason baseball game, it's gonna be a dogfight. Like every pitch is gonna count, every at bat's gonna matter, every defensive play, miscue, everything's gonna come and be much needed.
Yeah. Every team that makes the postseason is shows why they're in the postseason. But yeah, that Guardian series to like you hit the nail on the coffin. You got to get to that rotation. Their starting rotation isn't the best. I think they're the one guy I think that's been really good for them has been Tanner Bibby or Tanner
So
Bybee.
Bybee, it's Bybee. Yeah,
Tanner,
like I heard the broadcast and they said Bybee. Yeah.
Tanner Bybee, Tanner Bibby, whatever it's called. But he's been one of them guys that's been really good for the Guardians this season. Other than that, I mean, the rotation. I'm not saying they're like you were mentioned. You're not saying their pitching's not really dominant or just not too good to be in where the position they're at right now. But you do want to get to that rotation quickly to get to their bullpen and try to use some of their big time relievers, get the pitch count high, because obviously you're going to need another day of rest.
Yeah.
And when you're in playing game one and game two, it's back to back days. So I agree. You got to get to that bullpen quick, especially a guy that has a what 0.4 or 0.98
I
ERA,
think I think 0.6.
0.6. I'm in the middle of it. Shit. That's one guy you do not want to face. And that guy has been dominant for this whole season. This guy's probably going to be all MLB first team. So,
Yeah. Emmanuel Clase.
yeah, very got to get to him early.
All right. Well, my computer's about to die, and I got 6% left. So let's get through this train station real quick before I log off. So if I log off, it's not I want to be with you. It's my computer died, and I forgot my charger at work.
Nice.
But here we are. So from the train station, we got Jordan Alvarez. Everybody knows Jordan Alvarez has been diagnosed with a right knee sprain and will not be available to play the series, which is pretty obvious, right? He got hurt because Alvarez sustained an injury sliding into second base. Here's some updates. Jordan Alvarez said he's able to walk much better today after not being able to put much weight in his knee yesterday. He is hopeful he can take some swings this weekend, but there's still some inflammation in his knee and he lacks mobility. Time is going to decide, he said. This is what Spotter had to say too. Alvarez will stay back in Houston too to be monitored by doctors. He is improving. My question to you is: do we see Jordan Alvarez in the wild card series?
Man, that's a tough one. I don't want to speculate or anything like that either. It's difficult. It just depends on how he's moving in Houston. I think that's going to be the biggest key right there. If he's doing well in Houston, there's a shot that he does play and he's not playing the field.
Yes, TH. Yeah.
To me, I think would you take the question is too, would you take a 80%? Let's say it's 80% that he's good. Would you take a 80% Jordan Alvarez as your DH in the wild card?
Yeah.
It's an automatic yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. If he could get some mobility back, if he could do all that stuff, the conditioning, improving day by day by rest, the Rice method especially. Got to remember that. Then I could see, you could see Jordan Alvarez back on the field with the Astros in that wild card series. I just don't think he'll play any type of defense.
It's tough, like you said. And there might be a chance he doesn't, given Jordan Alvarez's knee injuries. Like you said, he had knee surgery, I believe, on both knees.
Yeah.
And the fact that he can play the field, the fact that it depends how he runs the bases.
That's another part.
That's what's
That's
going to
why the
come to.
conditioning is the biggest
Yeah,
part of this injury. If he can't
because
run, I mean, I don't know what to say.
because if he hits a ball to the fence and gets a single out of it instead of a traditional double, like it's gonna be tough. And something you don't want to see either is you lose them for a series, but the Astros advance. What if he gets hurt in a wild card? Aggravates it even more, and then he's on the rest of the postseason, or even going into next year too. So I'm sure Aaron Alvarez wants to be out there, but I'd say play it safe. But that is your big guy. You do lose a big bat.
I will say this: if Chas McCormick does get better before the end of this season, there's a strong possibility I feel a little bit better of having him play than Jordan Alvarez. Let him rest for that wild card series, and then if the Astros do make it to the division series, I don't know what the his day by day kind of thing would look like in that time, but maybe possibly you could be having a 75 to now a 90% Jordan Alvarez.
Yeah, and it sucks because it's like the timing of the injury.
Oh yeah,
La-
that's the biggest part of this.
Late in the season, like it's just terrible.
And it wasn't even a defensive play.
Yeah,
It was him running from first to second, stretching a single into a double. That's the unfortunate part.
yeah. Sometimes baseball has a tend to, humble you real quick, and that's part of one of them. But I know we're speaking of Chas McCormick. He has a fractured wrist, right? But Chas McCormick will stay in Houston this weekend to face live pitching. The fact that he's swinging right now as a fractured wrist is a good sign.
Yes.
It's a very good sign. I think, like you were saying, now I'm not comparing a Chas McCormick to Jordan Alvarez, right? So like you would feel confident. I would say defensively
Mm-hmm.
playing the field, but offensively you're still like trying to, I would say Astros fans would probably want Jordan Alvarez in that batting order.
Yeah, because right now, Jake Myers, let me go to his stats real quick. I mean, he hasn't really been slugging the ball offensively really great as of late. Like, he has just not been hitting the ball really well. Right now, last 7 games, he's batting 190. His last 30 games right now, a 186. So he hasn't been really hitting. I mean, he was on, like I said, in 1 month, he was hitting the ball damn good. But post All-Star break, as of right now, dude, he is hitting 190.
Yeah.
190.
He's gonna have to find it too.
So, man, it is just difficult right now. It's a hard situation that the Astros in because Jake Myers he's gonna be in the lineup regardless, just because of his defense. He has so much range in the outfield.
Yeah.
That's why he's gonna be on the field and in the lineup. But man, that left corner, either left field or center, you could, like I said, you could either flip flop. If Myers is starting in center field, then Chas is left. But let's say Jake doesn't play, you got Chas in center, and more than likely you'll have Jason Heyward in left.
Yeah. I mean,
It's difficult right now.
it's gonna be a scratchy series.
Very difficult, dude. It is very difficult to see where the Astros are going to be. And like Angel said, we'll have that coverage after the season ends and see what the roster is going to look like.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be tough, but if anybody can keep doing face through injuries and adversity, the Astros are your team.
Mhm.
Let's move on to around the horn real quick. Again, 4%, so I'm gonna go really quick. Freddie Blackman from the Rockies is set to retire, which honestly comes as a surprise to me. He's been really great for the Rockies. Has 1,799 hits, 226 home runs, 293 batting average. He's won a batting title, a 2-time Silver Slugger, and a 4-time All-Star. So he's been pretty good there. And then the Padres, clinched the playoffs, clinched the postseason both, but they did it by beating the Dodgers, and they did it by turning a game-ending triple play. Manny
That's
Machado
badass.
got the ball, threw it a second, got him by an inch or two, and then threw the first. And it was a 4-2 game. If they don't turn that triple play, Shohei Ohtani was next, was in the batter's box. Like, I'm sorry, was in the on deck circle waiting to get his turn. So with Shohei Ohtani, no lead is ever safe, right?
Mhm.
But get this. In MLB history, there have been over 700 triple plays turned, 300 no hitters, 300 sets of back to back to back home runs, and over 100 comeback wins from 8 runs or down. Only one team has done it all four in the same season, and that is the 2024 Padres.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
They're,
that's
they're
pretty
hot.
remarkable.
Honestly, that's the team I
Yeah.
think either them or the Phillies in the World Series. I honestly think so.
Yeah, I could see that. And then last two things before we go, because I'm on 2% now. Host clinched the postseason berth, and I don't know if you saw the celebration, but they gave Jackson Holiday and like the other players that are 20 years old a baby waddle as part of the celebration. And then the NL wild card come down. The NL wild card will be coming down to the wire, as because of the hurricane that's going on. The Mets and the Atlanta Braves, 2 games have been postponed, so they'll make it up on Monday. Get this, on Monday. The postseason starts on Tuesday.
Mhm.
On Monday in a doubleheader. So could be crazy there.
It is very going to be crazy. Wild card, real quick for the National League. San Diego looks like it's got that number one spot. Mets 87 and 70. Diamondbacks 87 and 71. The Braves 86 and 71. So them three last teams that I just mentioned, them teams are going to fight for a wild card spot. And as of right now, too, the Mets and the Braves are playing in the series that the hurricane is going to have an effect of them. And like Angel had mentioned, they're playing on Monday to determine if they both make it to the wild card. One of them doesn't make it to the wild card. Just depends on a lot of scenarios. Like the Arizona Diamondbacks, for instance, if they get swept in that last series, they are officially out of the wild card.
Crazy.
But I'm pretty sure Angels on 1%, 2%, 0.5%. I don't freaking know. But we do appreciate everybody taking the time. I know 5 o'clock, real crazy, especially in Houston. Everybody's going through that horrific traffic over there in downtown, wherever you're at, really, because of everybody getting out of work. But we appreciate y'all taking your time. Shout out to Sabrina winning the Jose Altuve giveaway and our guy, which I had it right here, Joaquin, for winning the tickets to see the clincher. That was pretty awesome for him to be
Great
able to
game
win
to be.
see that game. So shout out to them being able to win that prize and continue to support us, man. We do these giveaways because we love interacting with each and every one of y'all. But if y'all haven't followed us, if y'all haven't subscribed to us, all that stuff, the ticker's down below. Follow us and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Give this video a like if you'd like to. As well, FSA Full Steam Ahead on Instagram, Full Steam Ahead on Twitter, TikTok, wherever you can find us on your podcast platforms from Spotify and Apple. We are there. Like Angel said, we're going to give you the best content coming into this postseason. Till then, Angel, you got anything else before your 0.2% goes off?
No, thank you for listening.
Short and sweet, love it. But we'll give you that recap of the Guardian series and then get y'all ready for this upcoming wild card series for the 2024 postseason and see who the Astros will face in the wild card. Till then, y'all stay safe. Have a blessed weekend. And we'll talk to y'all soon.